Hi guys, welcome to Black Mirage Studios. This is the second episode of I didn't exactly give the series a name, but beginner game development guide series. Anyways, the second episode. So in the first one we talked about how exactly a game works, and in this one we are going to go more technical and talk about 3D and especially Blender. Now, the thing is, when it comes to Blender, it can do so many different things. Make super movies, like very professional movies, and so many other things, right? Commercials, anything you want. And that includes game development as well. But the issue is, there are so many great tutorials and guides, but they are not exactly catered for game development. They are for everything. But game development needs a specific type of 3D, if you may. So we are going to learn how exactly are we going to learn 3D for game development, and what are the things that you really need from Blender if you want to make a new game. And let's get into it. So Blender is a very complicated and a awesome software. It is open source, so completely free to use, unlike Adobe and the softwares like Maya or 3D Max. So Blend is a completely free software, and it has so much tools, literally so much, so it's overwhelming. But you, as a game developer, you don't really need to know all these tools. So here's what we are going to do. In Blender, like I said, there are so many tools, so there are so many different ways you can do things. So for example, let's say this is a cube, right? So in this cube, I can just grab these vertices. Again, don't worry about all the technical stuff. If you are new to Blender, just go along and you will understand soon. So I can just grab all these vertices and grab the move tool, and I can just move it. So you can see we can turn the cube into a cuboid. But we can do this in so many other ways. So for example, let me control Z and undo everything. So I'm just gonna click this cube, and there is a scale tool. I'm going to click the scale tool, and I'm going to grab the Z axis, and I'm going to pull it. As you can see, it is the same thing. It turned into a cuboid. My point is, like I said, you can do so many things in so many different ways. So why do you need to know that? It is because so you don't have to learn every tool in Blender. You don't have to learn all these complex mechanics in Blender. At least not when you are starting. You can learn just very few tools, and you can use that to make your game assets. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you guys around 5 tools. Let's say 5. I'm going to show you guys 5 tools, and you should be able to use those 5 tools to do anything in Blender, like related to game development, of course. Well, to start, let me quickly give a introduction to this Blender UI. I know this may look overwhelming, but it is pretty simple when you get to know it. So this is the viewport. The thing you are looking at is the viewport. Basically, everything that you are working on, you can see here. For example, this is a cube. This is the default cube. When you open a Blender project, this is always there. You can just delete it, and in here you can see a add button. You can add, and in here you can see so many default models that you can use. So I'm going to grab a mesh and a cube again. I can delete it, and cylinder, like you can see now. Let's say I want a not a cylinder. I want a triangle. I don't. Is it a prism? Yeah, prism. Yeah. So I want a prism. So I'm going to get a cylinder. I can't see the screen because of the camera. Okay, I'm going to press that little button down there again. Don't worry about all the technical stuff. I'll explain soon. I'm just gonna again press 3. So it only have 3 sides. See? Now it's whatever this is called. Now let me again back up, and so these models, you can add any model you want, and you can make it into anything you want, right? So To do that, you need to understand how they are made up. To understand that, we have to use the edit mode. Now, what the hell is the edit mode? Well, you can see we are right now in the layout mode, and the edit mode is also called as modeling mode. So these are the only two pages that you are going to use. You can play around it, and also you can press tab on your keyboard. When you press tab, it goes to the modeling mode, the edit mode. Now, in edit mode, we can do so many different things to this object we have. Like, I can grab and I can pull this out. Like, we can't do that in the object mode, right? You didn't see any tools, but in here you can grab everything individually. So basically, that means now I press back and went to the object mode. When you have so many models, right? Let's say you have what you have several objects here, and you want to edit one of them specifically. You're going to click on it. You're going to click on that object, and you're going to press tab, and you go to the edit mode. So in edit mode, I'm just going to delete the other two. In edit mode, you can see there are these dots, right? These dots are called vertices, and these objects are made of by the connected vertices. And what connect those vertices are these lines, right? These lines are called edges. So up here you can see a dot, a line, and like a face. Yeah, it's a face. So these are the three things that a shape is made of. For example, in the first one, when we go to the first one, we can edit vertices, and when we go to the edge, we can edit edges, as you can see. Again, up here, you can select the edge, and you can just grab this out if you want. Let's say if you want a fan, you can just grab these edges out and do the same thing all around and make a fan. Very simple. And the third one is face. Now, when these edges and vertices gets connected, the space between them get filled, right? It is called a face. Well, it is very simple, like all the normal objects, right? This let's say this font, this has faces, this has edges, this has vertices. It's the same thing, the same logic. So you have faces. Now you can do anything to these faces. Like last time we grabbed two edges, right? This time we can grab a face. See? So we can make a more good looking fan, I would say. So we can like do the same thing and make a fan. So you get the point, right? There are objects. In the object mode, you can add them. Go to add mesh, and there are so many objects. Literally, there is a monkey face for some reason, and you can play around it. That is the first thing you need to know. You can add objects. The second thing you want to know, you can edit those objects, press on it and press tab, and you can play, you can do anything to them. There are so many tools here. Again, we are only going to take a look at 5 tools. Let's get to that, but first, this is just the basic idea of what Blender is. So these are the only interfaces that you need to know to edit an object in your game, at least in the start. We are going to learn 5 tools that will help you make anything, literally anything in Blender that you need for your game. So the first one is, let me delete the cylinders and add the cube. Now, also for the record, Shift A is also the add shortcut instead of, well, you can see when you stay here, you can see Shift A. So just instead of pressing add every time, you can just press Shift A and add a cube. Well, for your extra information. Now, this cube, let's say we want to make a bed out of this cube. How are we going to do this? Let's say we want a bed for your new game. The first tool that I'm going to show you, well, you can count this as one tool, the scale, the rotation, and the move tool. It is in the object mode, and when you go to the edit mode, it is there as well. So it's very common, like it's the same thing in the move mode. you can move your object. That's all. In the rotate one, you can move your cube or any object you have. In the scale tool, you can scale it like I showed you before when we started the video. So I can scale it like this axis. You can see, right? The green axis is the y-axis. You can, if you press that, and when you grab it and stretch it, you can see the cube is going that way. If you go the z axis, you can go that way. Likewise the x axis. And if you want to go with all axes, if you want to completely scale up the cube, you can press middle and just do. I didn't press the middle, I think. Yeah, you can press what sorry. Oh no, sorry. Okay, sorry, my bad, guys. You can press this circle around there, and you can grab it, and it will go. It will scale up in every angle. Or else, let's say if you want to scale it only on y-axis and the z-axis, so you just grab the box between them. Now this is the z-axis, this is the y-axis. You can see up here as well the compass. So you grab this bottle thing, the box thing. Sorry. You grab it and you scale it up, and as you can see, it is not going. So you can get clearly, it is not going up, it is only going on those two axes. And the same thing, if we can get this one, the same situation, and the same situation here as well. Now I went back to my normal cube. We are going to make a bed. Now, like you learned, we have these tools, and let's get the rough shape of the bed using those tools. Well, I don't think we're gonna need the move tool at all. Let's just grab the Z axis and make it look more like a bed. I think it needs to be more wide. And I'm going to, okay, it's a box, but it can be a bed, right? So let's take this bed. We are going to make something similar. So you can see it is, of course, not exactly a cube. There are the bed part is very thin, and it has two, I don't know what those are, but yeah, you get the idea. So what we can do is let's make this thin. And now all this has been the first tool we learned, the main rotation, scale, and move tools. The next tool we are going to use is loop cut. Now loop cut, what does loop cut does is you can put cuts in your mesh, in your object. Now what do you mean by cuts, right? So in this start I told you we have vertices, edges, and faces, right? So let's, you can see what happens when I put a cut. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to not release my mouse button, and I'm going to grab it here. As you can see, it came along with my mouse to here. Like when I press and release it, it's just going to stay there. So just grab it. I'm going to undo, and you grab it. No, sorry, you press it, and while holding, you grab it here. Why is that? Because there is a head part coming out, right? So if you can see the bed, this part, we are just gonna make this a box and pull it up so it becomes like this. You get the idea, right? Now let's say you forgot to grab and pull this. You just click this and released it. Now what are you going to do? Well, you don't have to worry, you can just press the move tool and pull it around. Now, let's say you have unselected it. Well, you just go to your edge selection, and you just select the edges that you want to move, and you move them. Simple as that. So basically what I want to say is this move tool, this rotation tool, and this scale tool, it does not only apply to the objects, it applies to these vertices, edges, and faces as well. So I can just grab the face I want and just pull it out, right? Okay, it is like a reverse bed now. So what I want is this, to grab this out. But well, it does look like our model, but you can see it is not exactly that, right? It doesn't have this but the slope. So I'm going to press undo. That is not we are going to do. So with the edge tool, I'm going to do one more cut. Not that, we don't need that cut. So we did the first cut, and from the loop cut, I'm going to do another cut at the end, because as you saw, there was the same thing was at the end as well. So we need that part as well separately. So what I'm going to do is, now, like I said, I can just grab the face and push it out. Well, it's not gonna work. So what I can do is, now the issue is when I grab this word with these vertices goes up, so this edge has to go up, right? So how to prevent that? I can just put another loop cut very close to this. So when I grab this face, it doesn't, like, can you see that? Like, it does have that slope, but you just can't see it because it's so close. Now that is a trick you can use, but don't do that, because your mesh is going to be messed up and you can't even edit it again. So for that we have another trick up our sleeves. So that brings to me to my third tool, extrude. Now, what does extrude tool do? Well, it does the thing that we want to do. We can just, can you see? It doesn't have that slope anymore. We don't have to add extra. But the loop tools, we can just grab it and grab it up. Well, it has a down thing as well. It's a bed. So I'm going to grab it this little bit. I'm going to grab this face and pull it up a little bit. And this to the, now, uh, I'm going to go to the y-axis to see everything clearly. Well, you can see the compass here. When you press these buttons on the compass, you can just go to that view. So I can see this clearly if this lines up or not. So I'm just gonna put this both on the same level. And so guys, finally, it does kind of look like our bed. Now, if you want to go more advanced, well, let's take example. Why not? See, this have this head part, right? It's like a bit big. So what can we do to do that? Well, it is literally the same thing. You grab your loop cut, you put the cut around here, you can select all the, like, okay, you can select these faces that needs to go around, and you can just scale it up, and you have that kind of the same look, right? So right now we did this, like, I know this is not the perfect model, of course, but we did this within just three tools. I think we used scale, we used extrude, and we used loop cut, right? That is all we used. So these are just three tools. Okay, now you can use all these three tools to make this more advanced, just like in the image. But we are not going to do that. We are going to move on to something very complicated than this, and we are going to learn the other two tools that we are going to use. This is a key, but when you look at it closely, it's pretty complex, right? You can't make this with the tools that we learned right now. You can scale this, you can't but extrude this, or you can look at this. So how are you going to make this? Well, this part is pretty simple, but this part is the issue. So let's try to recreate this. This is one of our assets in our Moha. I don't even remember how I made this. So I'm also in your shoes right now. I'm also trying to see how I can make this within just 5 tools. So let's see if we can do it. Now, when I take a look at this, I feel like this part is the easiest part to make first, right? This is just a cylinder with few scale ups along the way. So I'm trying to make that part first. So I'm just gonna add the cylinder because it is a cylinder, of course. I'm gonna rotate it. Not that. I'm going to rotate this using the red axis. I need 90 degrees, so I let it go, and I in the edge you can see how many degrees that you do. I'm just gonna add 19 here, and it lines up to 90. So it's too big. So scale it down, right? I'm going to scale it down, down, and you can see the key. It's not enough, but it is short as well. So we can scale it up along the y-axis. Let me move it and try to get the roughly the same. Yeah, I think that's fine. And now this, you can see this kind of uh curves, like these bevers, right? Because the next thing we are going to lose is bevel. Now, a bevel tool is basically smoothing out your object. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to the edit mode, and I'm on edge selection. Now in here you can see these edges are very curved and smooth, right? So that is exactly what the bevel tool would do. Now to go to the bevel tool, here you can see the bevel tool, right? It is one not it is one under the extrude tool. It is this one, the bevel tool. So you select this edge, and you can just press shift and shift press all the way around, but I have an easy way. Just press one and press alt and press the next one. It will go around the circle again. Just press alt and press one. Now all the edges are selected. I'm just gonna grab this circle and pull it down. That did not give us the exact look we wanted. So what is the issue? Now, each time you scale up or down a mesh, you have to apply it, or else it won't work the way you want it to. So you just go to the object mode again. You press Control A and press all transforms. And when you do that, and then bevel it, okay, it's much better, right? It's not like dragging along. So it does give it, but it's not enough, right? It has more edges around it. So I'm going to control is it. What you can do is grab it and pull it. Don't let it go. Scroll your mouse button up. One, two. When you scroll up, it adds more edges and vertices to your bevel. So from the start, you select everything, you apply the transformation before, you grab it, you pull it, and you just add details as you want using your mouse scroll wheel, and you have the same look. Well, that was simple. Let's do the same thing here as well. But how are you going to add the, like, there is you can't grab anything here, right? Like we did before. Well, we go back to the loop tool like we talked. We can just add the loop, and we can grab it here. So it's already selected. I don't even have to select it again. I'm going to go to the bevel tool. I'm going to grab this, and it does not work the way we want. Why is that? Because this does not have a bevel to smooth out. Like this does not have that uh the the yeah, you get what I mean. I'm pretty bad with words. So how to add that thing so we can smooth it out? Well, going back to another tool we used earlier, the scale tool. Like I said, we can do anything to the edges we want. We can even grab it down. And yeah, it worked, but not exactly the way we wanted. Why is that? Because it's the same issue as that bed had. We need supporting edges around it. So I'm just gonna add two other bevels, and you can just uh add it proportionally. I'm just gonna uh now, since I have to support loops around, I'm just gonna press alt and select it, and going to scale, and I'm going to scale it down. And it's not in the middle, so I'm going to grab it and move it a bit middle. And now we have that V shape, so we can press bevel and okay, add more details. Mouse wheel scroll up, and we have that same loop. Not exactly the same. Why is that? Because in here we have the these edges also have the bevel, so I can just press these both at the same time. I'm going to bevel them and add some details as well, and you have the same exact look, right? So this part I'm not going to even do it because that is the same thing as the bed. You just grab a cube and just add loops and extract it. So I'm not gonna even worry about that. This part is the same thing as the start. You just add bevel, add loop cuts, scale it up, scale it down, and bevel it, smooth it out. It's the same thing. But this, the head of the key is interesting, right? Because I don't think using any tools we used, we can do this one. Now, how am I going to make something like this? Well, in the start, we talked how similar those shape, like we talked how no, we didn't talk about it, didn't we? Okay, let's talk about it now. Well, if you go to these meshes again, add and mesh, these basic cubes, we have cubes. It's because it's too large. Let me, okay. We have cubes, we have but we have cones. See, all these objects are very basic, but the thing is all of these complex shapes are made out of these simple shapes. That's why blend gives them as default. So you should be able to literally make anything you want with the default measures you have. So as soon as I see this head part, what do you think you see? I see a cylinder, right? This is a cylinder with a hole in it. Like, see, this is the very compressed cylinder with a huge hole in the middle. So let's just add a cylinder. I told this is not going to be a tutorial series, but I think this is becoming a tutorial series. It's fine. Yeah. So, and okay, we have the cylinder. I'm going to rotate it to the orientation we had, and I'm going to. By the way, you can. I think you can. Yeah. So while you are holding this line, while you're rotating, you can type the number you want. While you're holding, you can type 90, and it will turn 90. I haven't used Blender in a while, so I don't remember these small things. So okay, it has the shape. I'm going to scale it down to the level of our key. But by the way, the zoom, that was not me controlling. When you press dot icon in the number pad, it will focus on the shape that you have selected. So some bonus knowledge there. So scale it down, scale it down. I want this. Okay, so okay, it's more thinner. Okay, almost there, but it is very oval shape. So I'm going to grab the Z axis to make it oval. Now, okay, we want to add a hole. How the hell we are going to do that? Well, that's when our next tool, the fourth one, I think, comes in. So the fourth tool is called I'm going to go back to the edit mode. The fourth tool is called inset faces. So it is exactly between the bevel tool and the extrude tool. I'm sorry, bevel tool and the extrude. Yeah, bevel tool and the extrude tool. It is called inset. So what does inset faces do? Well, you need like a hole, right? So okay, just watch what I'm doing. So what I can do is I go to the face mode up there, not the edge, not the vertex face. I select these two faces. I have selected inset face, and I'm going to grab this circle and I'm going to grab it down. Well, you see what happens. It like it is same as the extrude, but it doesn't go outside. It does the same thing inside. You made another face and scale it down. So you have a new face in the middle. Well, I did it again. Let me show you again. We have this face. We need a hole in front of it. If we delete these faces, we can't have it because it's just going to be hollow. We need thickness. So we are going to select those faces, insert, and scale it down. Okay, now what? How to drill a hole through this? Well, several ways. You can delete this. You can select all the individual vertices and connect them. You select this. Uh, you press F will fill them. You press again 2. You press F. Not that. You press F, and now see you can see there are 4 vertices. You can press them and like that you can add faces all around and you will have this shape, but that is so annoying, right? So we don't even need to delete that. There is a default blend option for that. Okay, so we made the insert face. We still have the both selected. We are going to right click, and blend has a default tool called bridge faces. Again, select the faces, insert it, right click, bridge faces, and boom. Well, saves you shit ton of time. And you have the same shape. Well, not exactly the same, but we will get there. And yeah, sorry, I have already still in the insect phase. I'm just gonna go to the scale so I can scale this a bit more to mesh the shape. All right, I think that's pretty fair. Now we need to grab these things, right? So how are we going to do that? Well, we already talked about it. Uh, we just grab the face. No, we just grab one face here and pull it out. Maybe a vertex here and pull it out a little bit. You get the rough shape. Again, there is a very efficient way to do this, but we are not going to go advanced. Like we are not going to add mirror modifiers and stuff. We'll talk about that. I just dropped words out of nowhere. So I'm just gonna just very simple, just gonna roughly make the shape, right? Is it matching? Is it not exactly? This is just bit too much. I think it's roughly alright. So yeah, I think it's roughly alright. So what do you think we are gonna do? Well, what we already did to smooth it out, we are gonna bevel it. Just gonna adjust everything roughly. I know this is not a very perfect carbon copy, but I just need to make this quickly. So yeah, it has that 8 look. So I'm just gonna select all the edges, Alt 10 press, and it selects the circle. Again, Alt 10 press. And I need to smooth out this as well. So I'm just gonna press Alt and just the not the Alt, Shift and this. So it doesn't select all way, just the vertices I want, just the vertices I messed up. So they will go smooth out. And I think we are good. I'm just gonna press bevel and it did not work. Why? Okay, we didn't apply the scale. Okay, now let's see if that works. Okay, that was weird. and bevel, and it works. We have roughly the same shape only on the inside. I'm just gonna select the outsides as well, bevel, more details, and boom, we have another key head. And trust me guys, you can use these five tools to do literally anything when it comes to game development. You can only like i I think I have only used these five tools for a while now to make our game models. So yeah, now I just need to show you one more thing. Well, this is a pretty complex model, right? But still take a look at this very closely. See, I'm just gonna separate them. Okay, see, I'm just gonna grab something out. It's just a cube. Like, how to make this? Okay, how to make this? You get a cube, you scale it up, you what? You insert the face, like you add that you select the edges and you insert, and you do the same thing down, and you just bridge them, right? Then you have this, and you just cut this part out, cut this part out, do the same bridge thing or whatever you want. Like I said in the start, you can use so many things to do um so many things to do so many things, right? So there are so many ways. Just you just need to know the right tools, and that would be perfect. Just master the few tools that you know, and that would be enough. You don't really need to know completely blender for game development. Now these things are pretty complex. Other everything else is just cubes. This is also just a cube. Let's see a simple way. So this model is not made by me. This is made by one of our 3D modelers, Yasas. So it's a great model, but I don't know how he made this. So, but I don't think he used our fire tools to do this. I think he used a modifier, which we will talk about. But we don't really need a modifier for this. Let's see how we can do using our tools. So only fire tools. I'm just gonna add. Well, I'm just gonna add the plane. Where is the plane? Well, I'm going to add the plane. I'm going to scale it up a bit. And okay, how are we going to make this with our fire tools? Well, the first thing I see is this is the same thing with the key, right? This is like very vertical edges beveled. So let's try that. I'm just gonna go edit mode, add few loop cuts. I'm not going to go this complex. Let's go this. Okay, a bit more complex. Okay, so let's try. I'm just gonna select this, shift to select like the same thing as uh shift, and you will select the next thing as well while selecting the other thing. I'm just gonna make a V shape with this. Okay, I feel like this is gonna work. Now I'm going to select every every this thing, and let's see, don't need the edges. Let's see if this works. Bevel. Okay, I forgot to again uh, go to the object mode, Control A, and add transform. Oh fuck, I lost the selection. I'm just gonna again, guys. There are shortcuts to select this all quickly. I don't even remember them to be honest. So I select them. By the way, the shortcut for bevel is Control B. Control B. So if you want, you can use that as well or press bevel. I'm just gonna press Control B, and it goes and add details, and we have a sheet. See, wasn't that hard, was it? So again, we can do anything using these five tools. Uh, Now I'm gonna teach you one last tool, so you can continue learning Blender. Now, one of the most important things in Blender is modifiers. Well, what a modifier does is do a specific set of program to the mesh you already have. Well, let me explain what I meant by that. One of the most common used modifiers is called the solidify modifier. So let's see, in this model they have thickness, right? Like if you can see, there is very much thickness here, but in our model we don't have thickness. So what we can do, we can solidify it. So I'm just going to go to select this, and you will have something like this, and you can see this wrench tool. It's modifiers. Go to modifier, add modifier, search solidify, and I'm going to increase the thickness, and you can see it is a very useful thing. Modifiers are very useful. So within these five tools you can do anything. Even this you can do within these five tools, but modifier makes things so easier. So what I suggest you guys is, after learning these five tools, try to learn modifier as well. Try to learn some modifiers, see what modifiers do. Like I can mirror this, so I don't have to repeat everything again. I can array this, so I can repeat the object. Like let's say you have a house and it has a grill and you need it everywhere. You don't need to copy it. You can just add the array modifier and it will go around the house. So there are very useful modifiers like that. So what I suggest is, if you want to go more into Blender, learn modifiers after these five tools, and then if you want, you can learn more about rendering and all those stuff. But for game development, you don't really need them. You just need some things to make models. Now, just extra note, when you made the model, you can export it as a FBX. We usually use FBX. Export it as FBX, and you can add it into the game engine, which we will talk about in the next episode. This episode was just going to be 10 minutes, but it's 50 minutes already. So I just need to finish this quickly. I think I hope I gave you guys something. So hopefully. And yeah, see you on the next one. I need to run. Bye.